Friends, we have delivered a talk on budget, a very fast budget on Saturday. Today we are going to take about an economic survey. Okay. Economic survey itself is a huge subject. It shows the mindset of the government, mindset of the country, where they want to head. It is led by Sitaraman under the Modi 3 budget. And we have been able to put some lay on hand on the basis of vision of economic advisor, and we have covered this here. And we're going to talk today on that. The PPT would be put on blog. Any question regarding that, you can ask me on WhatsApp. You can email me. With this short introduction, we are going to talk on seventh in-depth analysis of budget, which is going to be which is for the consultants. For a layman who wants to ask me the question, can WhatsApp me or email me, but it would be in-depth section by section. And there is going to be a change in the whole law, which we will discuss later on. Okay. This is regarding our company. We have a work expose on a different field. We need an article assistant, CA, CMA, CSA, paid staff. You can contact me for that. We visit blog. This is a link we have provided to determine whether the tax slab provided by the parliament and the parliament by Sitaraman ji, आपको old tax में कितना tax आएगा in the right side, and the left side what is the exact tax payable by you in the as per the new slab provided by the budget. This is the link which I borrowed it from somewhere. This link is available in the blog so that you are able to calculate what is the tax payable by you. This is survey made by V. Anand Nageshwaram, Chief Economic Advisor, Government of India, put on Parliament on 31st January 2025. We have covered only the preface of the budget. There are 10 sections. If I have to cover, it would take more than enough time, not one day, whole day. So what I did, I've given few slides here and there to make available what is the view of the government, where it is heading, how it will go forward, what is the plan of the government of Modi 3 budget 1. So this is the point we have discussed. What government thinks is that if we want to sustain the growth and we want to reach in 2047 is the developed state, developed country, what are the ways and means they have to follow? What are the fundamental things they want? They want is lowering the cost of business. How government can support in lowering the business? By deregulating themselves. They want less and less regulation, less transportation cost, and less manufacturing cost because of the taxes and etc. Accelerating the economic growth. Economic growth agar fast hoga, then the cost will go down. We were able to achieve the economic growth which we expected. And because in India, employment is the biggest issue. So government says that the three focuses: lower the cost of business, deregulation if whatever the extent what is possible, and growth ko accelerate karo. And fourth is employment amidst unprecedented global challenges. There are huge global challenges which India is going to face, not only from Pakistan, not only from Bangladesh, not only from Sri Lanka, but USA, China, Europe, and other different countries which are competing about, like Bangladesh, Vietnam, so forth and so forth. In 2024, there are three democratic countries, which is more than 50% of the population, has covered and was faced the election year. India, Modi sub survived and thrived, and Modi 3, America's POTUS USA has changed. President of USA has been changed from Biden to uh, Trump. Trump has made a huge victory with his second re-election. He has won the first election, lost it second time. In USA, president can be elected twice. So he had come to the power with a lot of inclination that USA first means they want tariff to be levied from Canada, China, USA. This is going to be a big challenge for India because Indian goods which are going there would be curtailed. There will be whole chain जो chain management है that would be disrupted because of this. Indonesia has done. There are also government changes. So what are the what economic advisors, what are the big challenges which is happening in the world right now is Europe faces both political and economic uncertainty. Both Europe has, because of war between Ukraine and Russia, the fuel cost has gone up, their inflation has gone up. All European countries in a dilemma. They are fearful. Today, right now, America is uh, supporting Europe for Russia in terms of military support, which is likely to be curtailed later on. But now there are a lot of military support is available because of that. The defense budget has been reduced and overall growth can be maintained. But if you look at Germany's successive economic contraction for 2 years and political uncertainty there will be election in February this year. So Germany is in dilemma. This will affect India in a huge way. France, because now it is our economy is not dependent on our own economy, but also on other things. Because of that, BJP government, but the Modi sub government has curtailed the tax slab. Because of that, purchasing power of the middle income in our country are able to have a more purchasing power. This is the reason why which government has decided to decrease the tax up to rupees 12 lakh, and this would be affecting the purchasing power. If we need to thrive our economy, one of the most implication is we need to have a more purchasing power, which is being the target of the government. When we are talking about economic uncertainty, qua export is being said in Europe. I've covered the inflation is there, uncertainty is there. Germany is not done very well. France, political uncertainty. UK change in the government to Labour Party has come, and there is economic pressure is already there, slowing economy, and Europe's competitiveness is lower because of energy costs and transition to from transit to renewable energy, because most of the Europe is run on the fuel-based energy, and the whole of the world is talking about renewable energy, and there Europe is the most affected country. In spite of that, development of global economy, the index of global economic activity, Federal Reserve Dallas, has been volatile since pandemic began 2023. The reopening of Chinese airway after COVID has not led to economic growth because of overcapacity in China. China economy has not grown because of that. That local consumption has gone down, and so in order to compensate that, the Chinese entrepreneur export, and their export surplus has risen to $1 trillion US dollar over a period of in 2024. And because of that, the demand go big. Our economy is affected because we cannot export, we have to import a lot. That is why the whole our export has grown by at the rate of 6%, but it has affected badly. The whole economic survey says that India has an advantage for youth population. But when it comes to responsibility, it comes with a lot of responsibility. Indian manufacturing, Indian youth needs to work very hard to have a hardworking nature, which is being supported by Infosys, which is being initiated by L&T, and which is being said by a lot of industrialists and supported by this thing. If India is to grow, India's labor needs to be more responsible. Say, for example, one of the time Potosov said that USA president says that we want to manufacture Apple in USA. That is being challenged. He said, I am ready to take it. But the industry says that when Apple bell rang, within 24 hours, first shipment was done from China. Why they were able to do it in the first instance? Because their workers were there since 15 days, they have not gone home. They are ready to work 90 hours a week. And because of the huge manufacturing capability, they are able to export. And that is the limitation of even China also. And we Indians need to know how to work hard and how to learn what they have learned. And we have to work the way Chinese government has done, Chinese people have done. Otherwise, the number one position which people are talking about that India would be reaching in 2047 at number three economy is going to be the dream and would be felt once the India was on top few decades, few centuries back. Again, we may go back to the chaos. We need to be responsible. We need to work fast. The way the Chinese have developed the manufacturing capacity, the way their infrastructure is developed, we need to focus their metro, their rail, their road, their cities they develop. India needs to work on it and need to work on it fast. Politics like BJP, Congress, state government, central government need not be taken into picture. But whole growth needs to be, once growth is there, we can make poor upliftment easily. Is the vision inform supported by economic reserve, which is working under FM, which is working under Prime Minister of India, and we have a vision. We got a respect all over the world, not because of this, but because of the country's possibility of making a huge this thing. China's manufacturing colossus is incomparable with India and European country. India faces limitation in producing critical goods at the scale and the quality required to serve the infrastructure investment needs of the aspiring economy. For instance, India has low production capacity in the solar energy sector for key components like polysilicon, ignot, and wafers. The production of monopoly in silicon ignot is expected to quadruplicate, means 3 to 5 times in over a period of 2 years. But still, we are lagging far behind the demand which we have it. Several solar equipment manufacturers in the country significantly depend on Chinese supply chain related services. The single source of concentration risk in several product areas exposes India to a potential supply chain disruption, price fluctuation, and currency risk. India's task is cut out. Fossil fuel is gone because it creates a lot of carbon. Energy security and energy affordability needs to be focused. E-vehicles and public transport only help to reduce the energy requirement. This is the statement made by economic advisor. He said that public transport, metro, rail, this needs to be increased to such a level that India can grow at a faster rate. India's youth needs to be skilled. India's youth need to be skilled, develop new environment. One second. Second one. Okay. This is coming at AI. India's youth needs to be skill developed. So we need to have a skill development center which helps to develop the skill which is required for the purpose of specific requirement of an industry. So skill development center is a center. Plus what they've decided that academic, industrialist, and the youth, the group will work together to develop the skill. Government will support the three pillar: academy, government, and industry. They will become a pillar to develop the skill developed country, which would expose to a level which would produce the goods and services which is of a good standard. AI, excellent standard would be developed, would be made with education across India. Announcement of 1 lakh crore financing to catalyze the private sector innovation and R&D surprise sector. Achieving competition will be incomplete project without raising productivity, the need of a private sector. As wrote in Economic Survey 23-24, which is being published 9 months back, agriculture needs to be freed, empowered, embodied to diversify away from water sector dependent. Water need not be the primary thing as is being done in Israel. Simultaneously, irrigation cover has to rise. Agriculture research will depend on lake. Much more needs to be done. Farmer support policy can be done in the budget. They've developed. They've done a lot of research and worked on it. Loan facilities being provided, irrigation facilities extended, crop price have been increased, research institutes have been planned, KCC card has been issued. So a lot of things are done on the basis of the policy statement. Government wants to policy not to interfere with the business until found guilty. Government had made a statement that we would consider you innocent until you found guilty. Pele, you have to prove that you are not guilty, but now you would be considered until we prove them to be the guilty. The business will be allowed to grow as if they are innocent. Getting out of the way is the statement made by the government. Only where it is required, government would make the law, make the regulator. Regulator would be very compassionate towards the business people and understand the requirement. Only thing, it does not manipulate, does not harm the public, does not harm the public policy. That is the thing they are going to take care. Getting out of the way is and allowing the business to focus on the core mission is a significant contribution that government around the world country can make to foster innovation and enhance the competition. The government chartered the philosophy of Viksit Bharat 2047, on the basis of which public, industrialists, policy implementers, and lawmakers will understand each other for the growth of India. So the government plans to regulate with possible and is aware of the effect of the regulation as well as not regulating creates an adverse community effect. So they will interfere only when there is only adverse communities affected. Okay. Similarly, if India is to realize the vast potential of this province, their mental, what they say, what economic advisor says that youth population, their mental, emotional, and physical needs to be nurtured. One second. Okay. Similarly, if India needs to realize the vast potential, so their mental, emotional, and second cute, which way to if I move, I just move faster because I don't want to be okay. Now let me focus on this. Scientific evidence abounds. The consumption of ultra processed food is a big factor undermining the both physical and mental health. There are a lot of evidence available that consumption of ultra food, processed food like fat, salt, sugar, or excess is increasing. In this regard, globally, self-regulation is not effective. Stringent front of the pack labeling rules are needed to be enforced. If it is not exaggeration to suggest that countries' future growth potential writes a lot of on this measure. According to WHO report published in 2020, India's consumption of ultra-processed foods has increased from 900 million to 37.9 billion in 2019. We are today in 25. So, which is like the annual growth compounded is around 33%. It is clear that if India has a clear fronted tracking labeling stipulation of HSFSS food, driving domestic growth and resilience through deregulation. In the Economic Survey 2023-24, in the chapter of social sector, we focus on impact of screen time and ultra-processed food for children. This time, chapter examining the impact of work culture, lifestyle, and eating habits of mental health. What what economic advisor want that पहले जो स्क्रीन टाइम था यूथ का and they're using ultra processed food for children. Now they're looking up the work culture of a country, lifestyle and eating habit of mental health. So they said that work culture should be such that foster the enhancement of the productivity. Driving domestic growth and resilience through deregulation. This is the target of the government. In Economic Survey 2023-24, in the chapter social sector, last time they've decided to have the children not focusing on screen and ultra processed food, wherein the knowledge and they have taken the steps to avoid this. This time they have said that work culture in the office, lifestyle and eating habits of the on mental health of the uh, youth employee. There are some of the area where the state has to step in. At the same time, when it comes to higher education, the chapter points that implementation of national education is held back by regulation that supposedly voluntarily but effectively. The education policy is made in such a way that higher education is promoted, though not mandatory, but voluntarily. The whole budget is for the empowerment of women, farmer, youth, and poor. Women empowerment, they're planning to provide loan. They're providing to have some priority sector, safety, and many other things they are going to take care for farmers. For farmers, they are wanting R&D. They want seed. They want land to be supported, land pulling. There are so many factors they have taken into consideration. फार्मर के लिए इनको क्या करना है, लैंड प्रोवाइड कर, लैंड पुलिंग करो, लैंड पुलिंग करने से काफी चीजें सॉल्व हो जाएगी। लैंड का एक लैंड रिकॉर्ड रखते हैं, लैंड रिकॉर्ड में क्या होता है कि ये पिछले क्रॉप में ये लिया था, ये क्रॉप में ये लिया है, लैंड रिसर्च करते हैं उसको, ये जगह पे ये क्रॉप करने से ये अच्छा होगा। सो दैट इज लैंड रिकॉर्ड। सीडिंग, pharmaceutical, harvesting, R&D, and the research institution being promoted. Agriculture universities formed to make the farmer, because our GDP of today is 0.75% come from agriculture sector. They want to increase to 1%. The youth is the important segment of our whole economy. Very young population is available to us in India, and they want that they are being used for the skill development, scientific activity, research activity, and they just grow in such a different way that they can contribute to the economy of a country. The poor people is made included in such a way that their needs are satisfied, like food, shelter, their jobs, and their whole medical facility. So they become an inclusive part of Indian population. This is the way they have planned. Facilitating their productive and enhanced participation in economic activity is the litmus test for the purpose of developing a developed policy. Investment in education, skill, physical, mental will be the focus for the youth of both the gender. Poor will be provided a target support to improve their livelihood and opportunity to move from the periphery to the center of the economic activity. It is about finding the pathway for advancing their income and living standard through empowerment. For women, government around the country will have to eliminate legal and regulatory hurdles that hold back their participation in the labor force, besides undertaking facility measures. In other words, government must get out of the way of women joining the workforce. Wherever the law is such which doesn't allow, government wants that to be allowed. एक second. The chapter of external factor development wades into the challenges that India will face in near future, such as threat of restricted trade policy. Trump has started, Europe has started. So India should be ready to be for that. What India can do? India has to, it's like when you cannot export, you can use it for your own consumption, and you can make the manufacturing use for some other product. The chapter on external sector forbids the challenges. India walked through the whole process which is going to happen, because European countries, USA, they want their whole country to be developed. India first, is the USA first, Europeans they are first. They are restricting export on current account, which would, because of that, our current account deficit would increase. China has increased the production current account surplus of rupees $1 trillion. Now they are able to do so many things because of that. Our is a restrict of India's export widen the deficit at the time of FDI, and India is becoming a successful exit of our investment become negative, because lot of investors exit from India because of Vietnam, Bangladesh, Pakistan. These countries have started giving so much facility. Therefore, chapter is the question whether India's sustainable current account deficit is lower than previously estimated. That is the implication for capital formation and investment efficiency, and lowering the capital investment ratio. And this chapter provides the near sec for domestic issue covered in the later chapter. For external, always challenges like import restriction, tariff war, colonization, and so forth. The above factor raises the current account deficit, and India become vulnerable too. FDI getting tougher and tougher because other countries are also allowed the exit route. Their investment is also increasing. They are also learning the investor. Only way India is to reduce the cost of manufacturing, cost of transportation, and increase the consumption. The other way is effective use of demonstration of military power, which US has done, and they have been able to colonize their factor. The other way, R&D, research in pharmaceutical, high-end product, tourism, medical tourism, and so on and so forth, creating a power which China has done in a manufacturing sector. There is a mention in AI and its implication for employment generation in India is a brave attempt on our part to put forward some hypothesis on whether the technology would be hugely and adversely disruptive. It suggests with all humility tentatively some of the fears might be misplaced. The chapter does not answer the question whether the problem that world faces needs a technology such as artificial intelligence. Technology holds cup as a question. आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस को लोग मजाक समझते हैं but it's real, it's threatening, and India would be able to take advantage of it also. They would counter the technology was due to creative ingenuity. Humans that application follows. Further, given the rapid aging society in some of the society, this was a welcome development for them. It may not be so for all countries, particularly for labor-rich country like India. Labor-rich country will not have the same implications as USA has. Is China? China has a different technology. India would have a different AI issues. Therefore, policymakers in this country have to question whether AI is necessary. If the answer is unclear, it warrants closer scrutiny of its cost-benefit necessary follow-up action. Even the country where AI may feel shrinking labor force, AI's enormous demand for water and electricity is slowly coming to view, such to the bewilderment of the policymakers. The country like USA says that we want to use AI only, but that is sometimes it is not an advantage to them. Therefore, Japan also take care. They have taken robot to such a level that the robot technology has not worked for them. They thought that robot technology would help them, but it has not. So that's why their economy has fallen down from top to bottom. Therefore, whether the world is better or worse, AI is not easily answered. It is on the days to come whether AI is beneficial to India, beneficial to USA, beneficial to China and other countries would be known to us. But I am going to take an AI talk in a very specific way. What is the use? How AI is to be used? Where AI will take it? Where investment needs to be, and how AI to be used by India will be deeply explained in the next talk in the years to come. The topic of climate change and energy transition, as well as international application, has been discussed in a huge way. But nowadays, it is talked about, but many countries does not take the climate change energy is the only reason to work on it. ये टॉपिक 2 decade और चलेगा. This is another area where in energy transition, India is at a very good advantage because we need so much further energy, and we do not. In Europe, in Europe and China and USA, what happened? They have to dismantle so many things in the old fossil technology, and they have to make a new. India is going to invest in a new only. So their cost of dismantling would not be there. So India, in the technology terms, is at a very good stage as compared to other countries. This another government is front, center, and the private sector is somewhat. Globally, strong evidence is emerging that is high rising dependence on intermittent sources of power, high energy cost, and strongly correlated. Indeed, causality is like running from the former to the latter, and is one of the cases of rapid and deep slide industrial production Germany has. Germany का production धीरे धीरे कम हो रहा है because of very high energy cost. Some of the places has to be relocated. That creates a havoc for them. Research note that from low carbon resources, including nuclear power, bioenergy, and natural gas plant that capture CO2, helps to reduce costs, lowering carbon emission of organisms. Without these resources, costs rapidly should limit approach to zero. So Michael Hummel says that climate change is not everything. As we noted earlier, in this paper, it is time to conclude. Energy transition plans must be mindful geopolitical vulnerability and avoid deepening India's dependence on external sources for cutting. Strategic thinking needs to be understood. As I already said, India is at an advantage as far as uh, energy transition is concerned. Two obsession of waste, the water and the power consumption AI, the energy transition do not sit well with each other. The AI is using so much consumption. Sometimes it's not needed. It creates an obsession. There should be a balance in the use of AI. There would be some laws to use AI, how to use it. It appears to be later because more the waste goes for wind and solar energy makes. The greater coal consumption in China, the link between two runners for the requirement of critical mineral and rare rises with the share of renewable overall energy consumption. Now we are talking about a production and processing of material, where China is with huge uh, surplus capacity. They have they have a cheap labor, cheap power, already infrastructure is there. This would be costlier, making energy even more expensive for Europe. Cheap power is possible only in case of coal-fired and thermal plants. So both sides of the same coin, rot econ with this complex interplay makes one thing clear for India. It has to focus a lot more than it is adoption, then emission migration. That is focused chapter of climate and environment is one of the key challenges which India is going to face. The first chapter and fifth chapter, we have covered a medium term. First chapter dwells more on normally on global development and risk factor. That it should be, never the state of world. In medium term, so first chapter, in this 10th chapter, first chapter is focused on where India stands for. What is the GDP? Where they're going to go? And in the coming term, in the medium term, how India is going to focus. The medium term outlook elaborate examination of several issues of preface studies upon therefore need to get domestic economic engineering by pulling this regulation. As the tradition of all economics, first chapter, the outlook is economic growth 25, 26. This whole 10 chapter contains so much detailed analysis where GDP is, wherever this. I've taken few slides here and there, which I'm going to talk. What as economic advisor of the India said on 31st January on the parliament by putting the economic survey. I'm not going to reveal it here. Just stop you by flipping the page further. You can see the number at the end of the first chapter. The philosophy behind the growth projection is consistent with the philosophy of the government and Ministry of Finance adopted with last 5 years with respect to fiscal goal. Be realistic. Try harder and do better than that. हमने जो बोला है वो करके दिखाएंगे जो जो बोला है इससे ज्यादा करके दिखाएंगे एंड द मेथोडोलॉजी इससे कॉस्ट एफिशिएंट हो जाओ गवर्नमेंट का इंटरफेरेंस कम करो give the support to the industrialists maximum privatization minimum government intervention law should not be restricted law does not want to the suffer the growth the stellar progress in public finance is a track. This is a vindication of this approach. The addition of economic survey does not deal with state capacity issues. State is not the subject of the central, and they don't count so much. That is not the way I look at the economic. But they have not considered so many state capacity. The previously published 2024. Last time the addition in July when it comes to economic survey we have provided this is about 9 months back. They have given a lot of data on that. The demand for state capacity to respond to this development, make progress, social economic indicator, a rising geopolitical conflict like anything experienced since independence. Meeting the demand is a priority, is our case. The Indian economy is on a steady growth path. Macroeconomic health checklist is like very good as the country aims to accelerate its growth rate in the coming year. It's It has a tailwinding strong balance sheet in the domestic and corporate and financial sector. But global economy is on retreat. They are shrinking. Hence, raising the growth average in the next decade will require reaping demographic dividend through a deregulation stimulus. As partner apparently be the more you sweat in pace. जब शांति है तो इतनी मेहनत अगर पसीना बहाएंगे the more less you need to bleed in the war. अगर पसीना अगर आपने शांति के टाइम में बहा है तो वॉर के टाइम में आपका ब्लीडिंग कम होगा. So would like you to believe. I hope this preface has given you flavor of this economic survey whetted your appetite to know more about facts between the pages. I am responsible if you express, if any committed. This is what economic advisor says. Please let us know what you think of the former point of letter. We promise to go better. आपका जो भी सुझाव है वो हम एक्सेप्ट करेंगे. As always, putting it and pulling it together. आपको ये सब एक जगह पे रखना है. Putting it together, pulling it all together. सबको एक साथ में लेना है. टुगेदर इज ए लेबर. सबको साथ में लेके चलना है. लेबर ऑफ लव. काम करने का मजा एंड एक यज्ञ होता है, एक शांति होती है, एक सुकून होता है. When you make this thing over a period of time, the change becomes sadhana and economic progress becomes a reality. What they saying, आप ये काम करो. This is what economic advice says. Now I am going to take you some of the ग्राफ्स. वर्ल्ड का ग्राफ एवरेज 3.3 है. जो अपना जो कंट्री है यही एडवांस कंट्री है वो 1.7, 1.7, 1.9. हमारा इमर्जिंग कंट्री है उसका ग्रोथ बना रहेगा. ओके, सो चार्ट स्टेडी ग्रोथ आउटलुक अक्रॉस द कंट्री ऑफ ग्रोथ. सो हमारा जो कंट्री है वो एक EMD आता है जो 4.2 का एवरेज ग्रोथ होगा. But our country as an individual is expected to go around 7 to 8% in the near future. It may go further. अभी आप ये जो चार्ट है PMI मैन्युफैक्चरिंग चार्ट, अपना मैन्युफैक्चरिंग सेक्टर जो है ये येलो है. लुक दिस ईयर. तो इंडिया येलो अगर लाइन दिखती है तो इंडिया इज ग्रोइंग अराउंड 55 to 60% and regularly it is growing from January 22 to December 24. अगर आप ब्राजील से देखोगे, चाइना से देखोगे तो हमारा ग्रोथ काफी स्पीड से बढ़ रहा है. ओके, एंड इंडियंस मैन्युफैक्चरिंग सेक्टर इज लाइकली टू इमर्ज. इमर्जिंग मार्केट इंडिया, मैक्सिको, चाइना, ब्राजील, इसका एक ये चार्ट दिखाया है. ठीक है, तो इंडियाज मैन्युफैक्चरिंग सेक्टर इज गोइंग टू कंटिन्यू. इन्फ्लेशन इंडिया में जो है वो कंटिन्यूसली अराउंड 6% के आसपास है. When it goes to USA, it has gone from 8% to around 4%. UK is growing very fast. उनका जो inflation in advanced country is much higher than inflation in emerging economy. This is the inflation chart given in this budget. पॉलिसी रेट्स इन एडवांस इकोनॉमी, जो गवर्नमेंट का जो रेट बोलते हैं वो इंडिया में कांस्टेंट है, ऑलमोस्ट डाउन भी है. इट मींस अराउंड 9%. अगर आप अराउंड 6%. अगर आप मैक्सिको में देखो तो 10% है. अगर आप USA में देखो तो अराउंड 5% के आसपास है. अगर जापान में है तो अराउंड 0% से 1% है. Now if I look at Euro Asia, it is around 3%. This is chart from March 22 to this thing. This shows that the rate of जो पॉलिसी रेट है वो इंडिया में कांस्टेंट है, ज्यादा बड़ा नहीं है. which is around 6%, which is reasonable. Despite global uncertainty, India's growth in agriculture sector, average growth 15 to 24, मैंने जो green है वो 25 is 25 का है, average over a period of 10 years is this thing around 15%. तो अगर आप देखो तो एवरेज इंडिया का ग्रोथ in terms of agriculture, industry, services, GVA, GDP is almost constant. GDP is expected to work around 7% in FY25. So this is the chart which is provided. GDP growth year to year wise, quarter to quarter, H1, H2, half yearly. So India's GDP is growing at around 7% over a period of time. Highest share of private consumption in H1 across all time. तो प्राइवेट कंजम्पशन है वो धीरे धीरे बढ़ रहा है, which is around 61.2%. This is a very good rate. We are hiring article assistant, which I've already covered. We are going to talk exactly on union budget. In-depth analysis, what these things. With this closing remark, I'm concluding. For more detail, you can contact at CA My mobile number mobile number and email ID is here. 98 WhatsApp. You can WhatsApp me your question. I have not gone into the detail. I have gone into this thing. Many chart could have been prepared, but because of lack of time, I'll be covering the budget in detail on 27th. And there are many more presentations going to come. Many more presentation is available on the blog also. Thank you very much. अगर आपको कोई टैक्स का आपका ये बजट के बाद में आपको क्या टैक्स लगना है वो यहाँ लिखा है. With this, I'm concluding the remark. Thank you very much.